But yeah, I just share my screen here, right?
Yeah.
On Zoom. Cool.
Hey everybody, welcome to the latest Ignition Hackathon live stream. Today we have a couple of very special guests here. We have Daffy and Max with Mango Markets. They're going to run through some very exciting stuff with integration and building some stop losses. As always, put your questions in the chat. We'll get to them either during the live coding session or at the end. And yeah, take it away, Daffy and Max. Thanks so much for joining.
Hey, yeah, so I mean, I don't know how much of an intro I should do here. Daffy, one of the co-founders here at Mango Markets, and we'll be just going over this technical intro doc, which I'm not sure if it was shared to you guys. Like, I'm just gonna try to share it in the chat again, just to make sure. And Max can intro himself.
Yeah, hi, I'm also a contributor working on the core of Mango Markets. If you have questions, just reach out here in chat. I'll be more in the sidelines doing the presentation, trying to take care of your questions if Daffy doesn't see them. And yeah, if you have more questions later, feel free to come over to our Discord, give us a visit. We're always around and helping people dig through the code.
Cool. So, all right. So let me share my screen. Let's see. Yeah, share screen. All right. So we're gonna go over this doc, and then. All right. Is everybody able to see the screen? Good. I guess I also have to see the chat. This one. Yep. Cool. All right. So I thought we'd do this in like basically break this up into two pieces. First, I put together a short doc here, and you can tell, you know, I started it last night. It's just to go over basically the accounts, some of the big accounts that you might see, and it was very strongly inspired by the Serum Dex technical intro doc, which there's a link to that down here at the bottom of this one. Which, you know, I found that very helpful. So I'm trying to do something similar for Mango. Yeah, so, you know, without further ado, like, let me also say this, I don't know the level of expertise of everyone here, but this is probably going to be like an intermediate level. So we're not going to cover how accounts work in Solana or how transactions work. This is, and also this is probably going to be mostly program level, not too much on the client side. So I'll do that. You know, we'll go over this with the doc briefly, and then we'll just I was thinking we'll just start implementing the stop loss orders. That's something that people want, and I, you know, have been meaning to get to it, and I have a design in my head. But, you know, let's see if I can just crank it out on stream here. And that, you know, that would also include some JavaScript if we get to that. All right, so let's get started. There are probably like these 6 accounts that are really important, that kind of show up everywhere in a lot of different instructions. The first one being the Mango group. That shows up in, I think, every single instruction. And the Mango group, if you know anything about Mango v2 or v1 or whatever, it's the same idea. It holds all this information. It's like an information cache. Holds all this information about what this particular cross-margined, risk-pooled group of tokens are. So, you know, we have a bundle of tokens that are all pooled together. And when you go to mango.markets, you're interacting with one particular Mango group. There could be many, you know, they could have different quote currencies, whatever, but and of course, anyone can launch a Mango group, but the one you see on Mango Markets is a particular Mango group. And yeah, so has all this information about tokens, and it's very rarely written to. So that's kind of important, I think. It's always passed in as a readable account. And this might be something that is a optimization you might not be aware of with Solana, is that you don't want to pass in every account as writable. You want to clearly mark some accounts as readable, and this Mango group will almost always be readable, except when we're adding a new market, which we'll be doing soon. So yeah, Mango group, basically it's just like information. You don't ever write to it. Then the Mango account, which is self-explanatory, it's the account for a user, and it keeps track of all the users' deposits, borrows, perps, position balances, and funding, and Mango, the liquidity mining rewards, and so forth. And of course, like, there's a lot to say about this, and I don't know, like, if you look at the code, there's very large file. Just go to this one. There's a lot here going on here, but there's really there's no point in me like going over each detail. There's no substitute for just like reading the code. Okay, so another important one. This was like a big design, a big design decision that we had to make, which is okay, so let's start with the problem first. The problem is that in Solana currently, with the current version of Solana, each transaction is limited to about 1,200 bytes. I think it's 1,232 bytes, which means, and each public key is 32 bytes. So that means you can only pass in about roughly 30 accounts, 30 different accounts. And so that's a pretty big limitation if you're trying to cross-margin a bunch of Serum Dex markets, and each Serum Dex market will come with Serum Dex open orders account, and it'll come with various different pieces like the bids, the asks, the market state. And so yeah, you run through those 32, and this is, by the way, this is why Mango V2 can only support 5 tokens. It's because we basically did, we crammed everything in there without having any kind of caching ability. And so the cache is this way to get around it by taking all this information that's spread out across many different accounts and putting it all onto one Mango Cash account. And that account is going to be kept, the Mango Cash is going to be kept updated by the keepers. And so, as a result, we can like actually we can cross margin like, actually, even right now, we could probably have launched with a cross margining of maybe 30 accounts or 30 tokens or 40 tokens or whatever. But yeah, due to other limitations, chose to go with only 16. But yeah, this is what gives us that ability. And you'll see the Mango Cache everywhere, and it's usually passed in as readable. Again, if you pass it in as writable, it makes the whole program single-threaded, because only one transaction can interact with an account that's writable at a time. And we want to be multi-threaded and optimized. So yeah, okay, so then there's a perp market. Obviously contains a lot of the information about the perp market, sort of very similar to Serum Dex market state, the market state account. And also we figured out an O of 1 mechanism for keeping track of the user's funding rates. Yeah, I mean, you can read about this here. I don't feel like explaining it. But yeah, it's very similar in concept to the O of 1 mechanism for tracking the interest earned by depositors and borrowers. And this is why, people ask, like, how is it that you're able to keep track of people's interest without any cost, any transaction cost? And this is how, because it's just updated globally. Same thing with funding. Hold on, let me silence my phone a little bit. Cool. So yeah. And so there's the root bank, which is another optimization to keep things, let's say, multi-threaded, right? So in Mango V2 is basically single-threaded, because anytime you place any kind of trade, you're going to be interacting with the USDC vault. And the USDC vault is going to be passed in as a writable account, which will make everything single-threaded, because every transaction is using that same account as writable. To get around that, we basically have multiple node banks, and each one has its own vault. So for example, USDC could have up to 8 different node banks. And you pass in all the node banks, you pass in one particular node bank. And each person passes, basically you can have up to like 8 different threads running on a particular token. That way, because USDC is going to be passed in every time, at least we can have 8 cores, could have at least 8 levels of 1,000 TPS or whatever it is per core that Solana gives us. Yeah, and then the event queue is very similar. I mean, this is very similar to Serum DAX. Same with the order book, very similar. Basically, we just like cleaned it up, added a bunch of stuff that was for the liquidity mining and better record keeping, but very similar. And then you have this one major thing called the keeper, which is not really in the program code. You would have to look at the Mango client v3, and it does some of the things we talked about. Like it caches the important information. It updates the root banks to keep track of the interest that's being paid. Update the funding to keep track of the funding that's being paid, and also consume events, like process the events that are on the event queue. This is all being done, and that's one of the main issues with Mango right now, is that there's no real incentive to do it. It's being done by us, and you could do it yourself. Actually, you could, we could make the UI do it. Everyone could run the keeper commands before they do any trade. That ruin the user interface, the user experience. So it's possible. It's not like everything is gone if no one runs the keeper. People will run the keeper for themselves. But it would be nice to have some kind of mechanism to do that. So I wrote down a few ideas. Maybe you could suggest some more ideas, but gave you some useful links. All right, so that's just a brief overview of some of these names, and like we can again talk about it. I will take a look at some of the questions. See. All right, are you guys using Anchor? No, not yet. Maybe in the future. And you'll see some of the issues. Well, you'll get to see how we do the programming. And Maxim mangoes, nice. Where's the fruit? There's no fruit right now, but I did load up on a jar of nuts. It's actually very important that Mango devs have a nutritious diet, which is and I'm not saying that. That's coming straight from the Mango DAO, actually. So I do have some nuts here. All right. So let's get to the code. I think it would be a good idea to like implement something that everyone really wants, which is stop loss orders. Okay, first thing, are you guys able to see this code? I know probably not now, but is the font good enough? It's good. All right, cool. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's like the omega-3, the omega-3 optimized version of the nuts. Gotta get the polyunsaturated fats that are good, as everyone knows. Okay. So first thing is let's write out what we're maybe attempting to do here. Let's see. Okay. So here's the design that I came up with. And this might be kind of slow. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of winging it here. I came up with a design, but didn't really get a chance to write it out. So I was thinking of this as calling this like advanced orders. I already added this piece here. You know, there's a pub key. Yeah, I basically started adding some pieces, but let's get rid of them because they're not even complete. So can we just get rid of whatever was in my? I think it compiles. Let's start with that. As you can tell, I use JetBrains. Oh, that guy Skynet, who also sometimes streams, uses JetBrains. Oh, okay, I committed this stuff, so that's the problem. Let me let me get rid of so we can because it's super confusing because it's not even done. It was just me like writing Scratch, trying to work out what we're gonna do before we start doing it. And there was like, started writing the init. No, I guess not. It's not even here. Cool. All right. So let's write down what we're trying to do. So the idea here is advanced order types. And I think what we want is, right now we can't amend the Mango account. Well, we could amend it now, but if we amend it, we'll basically have to migrate to a whole new smart contract, and that's not going to be good. People are going to be annoyed by that. It takes a long time. It's fractionates the liquidity, so not good. But what we could do is we have some extra space on the Mango account. We have some extra padding bytes at the end. What we could do is we could allow the user to create another Solana account and record the pub key of that Solana account onto the Mango account. And so basically it's like it'll be like a pointer. There's no pointers here, but it's a pointer to a state, a place in memory that the validator knows about, because every pub key is basically, I like to think of it basically as a pointer. And so we could add that pub key, and then we could allow the user to initialize their advanced open orders account. And on that advanced open orders account, they can store all kinds of things like stop market, stop limit, maybe more complicated advanced order types that I don't really know about. But stop loss and profit taking, which I'm not super familiar with because my experience has been mostly algorithmic trading. And so if I wanted something, I'd program it into my bot. But and that's the oversight. That's why I didn't think this was very important. But no, people want this. And there's probably better ways to, there's more advanced order types that people want that you guys should tell us about, or build it and give a PR. So, so let's put that into writing very quickly, just so we know what we're like trying to do. So allow user to create an advanced orders account and store the pub key in his, let's use the male pronouns in his Mango account. And then allow user to add advanced order to advanced orders account. Then obviously that would be a different instruction. And then maybe finally we'll have another, well, obviously someone has to trigger it, right? Like that's the key here. And so we need to think of so another instruction to let the advanced, to let anyone trigger the advanced orders on the account. And this is very crucial. And okay, maybe also this like addendum here, give the, what do we call this person? The guy who triggers the, it's not the keeper. Well, I'm inclined to call it the liquidator just because, we'll probably build this into the liquidator code because the liquidator has to keep track of all the Mango accounts anyway. So let's just call him the liquidator for now. Or maybe the triggerer. That's just an awkward word. I hate that word. Let's call him liquor. An incentive to keep track of these accounts, keep track of these advanced orders and trigger them. All right. Are we clear on what we're trying to do? Let me check Twitch chat again. The initiator, that's a good one. Let's see. Initiator. The initiator. All right, let's call it the initiator. Someone says, will that cost another 0.03 sol? No, it won't cost 0.03 because it'll be smaller. Obviously we'll try to make it smaller. Also, it'll be optional. That's the other thing. Like you would have to initialize it yourself if you want to use the advanced order feature. And so it's fine to make people pay. And you'll see here, okay, so think about this. If you guys came here yesterday, and I saw Armani speaking for a little bit. Anchor is very neat and tidy, but there's something to be said about hard work, which is something like kids these days, they just want to, they don't want to break their back doing client code. And I will show you that it's okay to break your back doing client code. It's we will spend 80% of this writing client code and instruction parsing, just as a way to demonstrate how how good it is for one's character. So let's start. Let's start with defining this struct. Right? This is how I start. So let's see, pub struct advanced orders. All right, so it's going to be an account, and this is cool. Like, we're going to copy. Yeah, we'll also, because this is not Anchor, we'll be doing a lot of copy pasting. I don't know if Armani's on the chat. Armani, if you're on the chat, please say you're on the chat. All right, he's not on the chat. We can roast him real good. So yeah, we'll be doing a lot of copy pasting. There's two macros that I've defined. One is pod, which is like, okay, it's a plain old data struct. Something needs to be a pod for it to be loadable. And so I just add pod there. And basically this macro is defined in Mango macros. You probably don't need to know this, just attach pod, not a big deal. But makes it, basically implements these traits. And then loadable implements the loadable trait, which, okay, my ID doesn't know where that is, so I'll have to go up. The loadable trait. Let's see where this guy is. Loadable. Not this one. There we go, that one. Loadable. So it's a trait, basically. Maybe think of it like just default implementations for these functions, and it allows us to very efficiently load a Solana account as a struct, and there's no deserialization or serialization. It's just basically this reference. There's almost like a smart pointer here that's just going to map what's on the Solana account. Basically a pointer to this like chunk of bytes, and you can just modify those chunk of bytes, and everything gets recorded. It's all good. So yeah, that's the way we do things here. Another chat check. Let me see. Regulator, like the bouncer. What are those flags? Flags. What do you mean by flags? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I copy, do a lot of copy pasting. I'm gonna do that. Add some metadata. I mean, it's not sure it's totally necessary, but the data type. We want all the accounts to have some, like the first byte is going to have information about what kind of account it is, because all of these will be owned by the Mango program ID, right? So we just want to store that this is data of a certain type, which reminds me, that means we have to add it, right? We have to add advanced orders. And so that'll be like our new data type. Let me move this around. Okay. So we added that. What are some things we want to have in here? Let's say orders, which is going to be like, so there's no expandable arrays yet, or dynamic memory. I think Solana team's working on sort of a solution to this, and we have some designs of how to do this. But one of the reasons things look the way they do in Mango and probably across Solana is that because expanding accounts is very difficult, it's complicated code to even attempt it. Everything is like defined at the start. You're gonna just reserve all the memory you think you'll need, and hope that's enough. Hope you didn't overshoot. Hope it's not too much memory. because now, you know, Solana is so expensive. And, you know, let's take a look at how expensive Solana is right now. It's also important to do that while you're coding. It gives you motivation, reminds you what you're really coding. You know, you don't want to, like, you know, if Solana is like $2, go ahead, just make this like 1,000, you know, make this like, we can just make this like 10,000. It's an array of 10,000, who cares? It's too cheap. But obviously this is like much more expensive. So we have to allow people to use like 2 orders. That's the max we can do for now. That's a joke. Let's see. So if we're gonna have a bunch of orders here, we probably, you know, need like this other struct that's actually gonna go in here. So let's go advanced order of size, I'm saying 32. And yeah, so what kind of things, so okay, so maybe first thing is like, maybe advanced order type. So I don't want to use order type because, you know, although, you know, that would be much less verbose. I don't want to use that because we already have an order type. But this is probably going to be like some kind of enum here. We want to know if this is active, right? Is this like an empty, when the initiator, I'll call them the init, it's too many syllables. When the initiator is looking through, iterating through your advanced orders, they need to be able to just like quickly screen out the ones that are just old. We don't have like a, you know, we don't have a vector that we push and pop from. So we just iterate through and ignore the ones that are not active. So that's another thing. Let's see. Oh yeah, don't forget, we want to make it the memory layout C. And this is not going to be loadable because this is not an account that will be loadable. It's just a struct that is inside an account, a Solana account that's loadable. So I mean, obviously we want to have, so if this is, let's build for our stop limit orders. So we want to have price, want to have quantity. So maybe we'll call this like limit price. Yeah, let's do stop limit. Let's not overcomplicate things. That's quantity. Trigger price, right? So maybe this one should not be I64. Maybe this is yeah, here's a point about the types, the number types. So this probably trips people up. Honestly, it trips me up, trips everyone up. It's a big problem. Maybe half the time, maybe like a 30% of the time building this was dealing with the number I80 and attendant issues related. So I've listed out the units at the top so we can kind of keep track of things. Price is going to be I64. And that's just like, you know, if you read the order book and the order IDs code, you maybe understand that. But then there's another price that's on the cache, which is a more natural looking price, which is like the native quote currency per native base currency. So that's so that's the one that we're going to be triggering against, right? Like the price that's on the Mango cache. So, you know, it kind of makes sense to make that the trigger price. And yeah, so we have quantity. So this, you know, advanced order type, I'm trying to think, like, do we want? All right, let's keep it this way. Most likely what we build here is not going into production the way it is. So I was hoping maybe I could just like crank it out like a production level thing, but probably not. So let's play fast and loose here a little bit. Okay, so we kind of defined our structs. We kind of we defined this advanced order type. We kind of know what's going to happen here. Basically, the initiator is going to look through all the advanced orders, and he's going to screen out the ones that are not active. And he's going to, if the trigger price is, yes, we need something like side, right? We need like, we can just use the side that we already have. This is bid or ask. No. Whoa, sorry, I tracked away. Yeah, if it's a stop limit, then, and it's a buy, so let's just write that really quick, just as an example. If it's a stop limit and it's a buy order, well, people typically do like stop loss. Let's think of it in the other way. If it's a sell, then sell the, or then place an order for quantity. We'll do this at limit price if trigger price is less than, or sorry, if cash stop price is less than the trigger price. To put this in more, yikes. To put this in more market, or what is this? Index price, let's call it that. Index price is less than the trigger price. And it would be reversed if it was a buy. So I think this is like the typical use case. All right, did I lose everyone? Where's my... Cool. Not sure what this means. Do I actually have the correct? All right. So let's implement it. So we have the structs laid out. We have like basically 3 functions that we want to implement, right? So here's one. That's pub function, not pub, actually just function init advanced orders. It's just some boilerplate here. Actually, let's make this a to-do. Cool, and then we have what do we call it? Maybe register advanced order. So we'll take some things. By the way, we add this like some of the stuff like don't inline just because I'm gonna say this just because it cost me a lot of time and energy before learning this the hard way. If you don't do that, it will inline everything by default. Like the compiler will inline everything by default, and then the function will be too large. And in Solana, there's a 4 kilobyte limit for how large a stack for stack frame for one function can be. So it'll be too large, and it'll throw errors. It'll sometimes the compiler errors will be totally inscrutable, and you'll be wondering what's happening. But that's basically what's happening. And also these instructions map one-to-one with or these functions here map one-to-one with what's happening over at instruction.rs. So if you go, there's a list of all the instructions, and we'll have to define them. This is the hard part. This is why, like we don't use, this is the consequence of not using Anchor, is that you have to do all this. You have to define like a new guy here. By the way, this guy's deprecated. This guy's going away soon. We'll make sure it's deprecated. Yeah, we'll do that here. I'm not sure how valuable that will be. So I'll focus on this. Okay, first step, you want to init the advanced orders. Basically, user, if we roll this out tomorrow, you should be able to press a button and then add to your Mango account that you have an advanced orders. And you place a stop limit, and there should be something there. So actually, maybe the first thing we ought to do is see if we updated Mango account. Jesus, I gotta do this. Yep, so we have this padding, these padding bytes, and I'm just gonna take 32 of them away. I'm gonna use it for my own purposes here. So now there's only 38 left for people who want to use, let's say advanced orders, pub key, and let's just a little bit of documentation. Starts off as 0 pub key. And this is a very common theme in Mango code, is that we'll just, if something's not initialized, it'll just be the 0 key. So this will just be like 0 bytes, which makes sense. That's how it'll be. It's 0 bytes anyway. And so it allows us to keep track of whether it was initialized or not. Points to the advanced orders account. Cool. So we're going to be doing a lot of copy pasting. So which one do I want to copy paste? Init advanced orders looks a lot like init spot open orders. So let's copy paste this guy. Let's do that. Cool. This is just for documentation, all the accounts that are being passed in. In Solana, obviously, you have these accounts. I think this one is this guy. And yeah, so let's rework this. Obviously, we need to pass in the Mango group so that we know that this Mango account matches the Mango group. Everything's kosher. The owner, well, we need the owner to basically sign off on this. So, so yeah, we need to pass in the owner. We don't need the DEX. DEX is not important here. We don't need open orders, spot market, signer. Do we need this? This signer. This is like the Mango group signer, right? Like the PDA of the Mango group that allows the Mango group to sign for things. I don't think we need this. I also don't think we need the rent account because we dynamically load the rent sys variables. But we do need advanced orders account info. And this one has to be writable. Or does it? See, we'll keep it open. Maybe it has to be readable. Maybe it has to be writable. Well, yeah. Let's see. Why not allow those to be inlined? I think I just answered that. Cool. Is there a way to know like how many people are watching? I'm just like talking to myself right now. It's like twitch.salontv. See myself. Cool. It's 135. Nice. Sweet. As you can tell, I'm get distracted easily. Get rid of this. Mango group will be loaded. There's just some functions that make sure that it's owned by the right program ID, etc. This is weird, not necessary. Mango account needs to be loaded as mutable. And then we need to do a bunch of checks here. So like invalid signer, yeah. Basically, if you're just as a default, like if you're bankrupt, there's just no, I just assume you can't do this. Bankruptcy follows a very strict procedure. So if an account is bankrupt, then we're just gonna, I guess it's fine if they want to do it, but we'll just take a hardline stance that bankrupt people just can't do anything. Okay, so what we want to do is load the advanced orders, initialize it with the, well, first do the rent checks to make sure it's rent exempt, initialize it with, initialize the metadata, set the Mango account dot advanced orders field. I think that's about it. So one thing, if you're writing code on chain, there's a lot of checks that you're gonna have to do. It's very important that you do these checks. Otherwise, things break down, bad things happen. And a lot of time is just spent like thinking through what are all the checks that you're gonna do. And this check here is like very simple. You, like this one's obvious, right? Check the owner. Is this the person, the owner account that's been passed in, is that the actual owner? Check it. If not, then throw the invalid owner error. And when you throw that error, it's kind of cool. In Mango, this message will be printed in the program logs, and it'll also print like the line and all that stuff. So feel free to copy and paste this into your own code. I found this very useful. So yeah, we're doing these checks. One check is obviously make sure the user or the Mango account doesn't already have a advanced orders set. So, and the way you check that is Mango account dot advanced orders equals pub key default. We'll just throw the default error because I don't know what to, maybe, I don't know, maybe invalid account, invalid param. That kind of makes sense to me. So yeah, we just want to make sure that it's starting off empty. Otherwise, you'll have this guy overriding it. And bad things can happen. Then you want to load the advanced orders account info. Now, let's see. To load it, there's something very simple you can do, which is advanced orders load mute. And you know you can do that because you have this at the top here, comment loadable. Then we looked at this before. This trait is implemented for that account, so you have these functions available, and so you can just load it. But typically, we'll put it in its own function, but I just need my, I need my IDE to rely on this guy. It's, I can't. Maybe my IDE is just very slow. It's like, all right, I think it's gonna make me do it the old-fashioned way. I actually have to go import stuff. Let me go down. Advanced orders. Like, go to state. I'm just gonna import this guy. All right, so it's imported. I think my IDE is just having a meltdown for some reason. I don't know why. Advanced orders, and we'll do the load mute. It's the function signature. Right, it's just the account. Advanced orders account. Just get my IDE more help. We might want to do some rent checks here. Let's just copy it. Let's copy it. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Load and init. Yeah. We want this. You know, we want to check for the owner. We want to check that the owner of the account is the program ID. Therefore, only the Mango program can modify its state. That's straightforward. We'll check the account that's not rent exempt. Make sure it's not already initialized. We'll do similar things here. So we've already loaded it. Declare this immutable. Actually, all right. Let's move this guy. too much going on. It's kind of confusing, but let's actually just move this guy into this function here, because this is the standard way to do it. Damn, I'm almost out of time and I haven't even got to client code. So imagine there's 5 hours of client code after this. So be prepared. Just gonna try to blitz this out real quick. Yeah, we want this guy. We want this guy. And then we want program ID. What else do we want? We want account. It's like account info. Yeah, this is 100% not going to compile. I know we gotta add the lifetime parameters. 100% not going to compile. But let's just, what else? Yeah, account program mega group. Just do that. I just want to return it. I wanted to add a new error type, so let me just do that right now. This is like, it's like invalid account state. It's quite different from invalid account. But yeah, so we have invalid account state. Okay, so I think we're doing the basic checks. We need to actually initialize it, right? So we're making, these are the checks to make sure it's good, make sure it's rent exempt, etc. Then we need to actually initialize it. So state.metadata is initialized is true. State.metadata data type is equal to data type advanced orders. Actually, is it, what's the type? Oh, it's U8. Let's go back. I don't know why it's a U8. Huh. I guess we could have just kept it as the data type. We don't need to like initialize the orders. You might think that like, you know, state.orders might want to make this like 0 bytes or something. You don't have to do that. You know that necessarily. So every time an account changes ownership and it gets owned by the Mango program, it's going to be initialized to 0. So you don't have to check that the orders are all 0. But if they weren't, you know, that would be a really big issue. So actually, I think the standard way to do this is like metadata new. So that let's just use the standard way. Version 0 is initialized true. That's it. This is like the standard way. Get rid of this. All right, so we got this guy. It's loaded in it. We probably should also implement this. We're not going to do it right now. Load mute checked. Yeah, this is like to do. Basically call load mute, but just check it first. Okay, so we can say, try to speed up here a little bit. We could say load advanced orders, load and init. Yeah, you don't actually need to use this guy. So yeah, we did the rent checks, we initialized the metadata, then we need to set this. So Mango account dot set it equal to this key, the pub key of the advanced orders account. Yeah, and there's probably, see, the thing is, there's probably an error here, almost certainly. But and part of, I think, programming on chain is that it's maybe easy to come up with the idea and like write it out, but you kind of just, I don't know, you have, like, just have to read it 10 times to make sure every T was crossed and I was dotted, and you'll still miss it, still miss things. I think so. I had an hour, but I know that people have gone over the limit a little bit in the past. So let me maybe give this 10 more minutes, and also just ask questions. Maybe we don't have time to, this is the meat of it, like the register, advanced order, and this one is like execute. These are like the meat of what's happening. But we probably don't have a lot of time left. Let's see.
Yeah, Daffy, feel free to wrap up whenever you'd like.
Yeah.
We have time and you can keep going, but I also know you're a busy man.
Yeah. Well, I'm just here. I'm just on stream getting work done for myself. That's just, so like, okay, what is the incentive for the initiator? That's a good point. We were supposed to set an incentive. So I think the way we would do it, well, we probably don't have time to like actually do it. But the way we would do it is okay, there's a couple of ways. We could fix an amount. I was thinking something like 100 times the Solana transaction cost. So Solana transaction cost is 5e negative 6. Let's say, like, right, I think you've probably seen it. It's like this. We would make the fee something like that. And that would just give the initiators an incentive to kind of keep track of all these things. But you could also make it like a fee that's proportional to the size of the trade. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit reluctant to do that. I don't know why it used to be charged more if, well, I guess larger stop loss orders impact the book more heavily. I don't know, but there's a reason to do it. Cogen, yeah, I think so. Oh, Armani's in the chat. Wow. Captain Proto. I have no idea what that is. Is this Captain Proto? Yeah. I mean, okay, so I don't like, so probably you're right. Like we could do it that way. Could also just use Anchor, just be consistent with everyone else. Yeah, it just like use raw bytes is, it's worked out for us. I don't think it's a problem. I don't like protocol buffers. Like, okay, they're fine, but I don't know. Just this, like, the zero copy thing is just so clean to me. I don't know. Yeah, maybe, okay. Maybe we go through the cycle of like, so we have this init advanced orders, right? So now you can see all the extra shit we have to do. Now this is the instruction parsing and client code that right, so you define this instruction. It doesn't have any parameters. You just leave it like that. And then you have to like unpack it. You gotta do this thing. Advanced init advanced orders, and then you gotta go. Okay, imagine now, like, if it actually had parameters. The other one, this one actually will have parameters. It's gonna have to register the trigger price and the quantity and all that stuff. You can use this as an example. Like over here, you can see you have to unpack those bytes. Again, Anchor, I guess if you use Anchor, you don't have to do any of that. There's a lot of unpacking stuff going on. And then you have to also do it here. Just a lot of copy pasting. And then you have to do it on the TypeScript. Now you have a Python, you have to do it there as well. But like this guy, add the remaining pattern. So you'll see this. And then from here, this is sort of like the processor entry point. You get to call the actual function. Init advanced orders and program ID accounts. And that's basically it. But this takes a long time if there are actually parameters and you have to do the client code and all that stuff. Cap'n Proto zero copy. Is this, are you from Cap'n Proto, the company? Is there a Cap'n Proto, the company? Are you Kenton Varda? I'm kidding. He's from Captain Mango. Nice. All right, well, I tried my best to get through all of this. I thought I could speed run the code. And it looks like I could barely do one function. So no, I have no idea about exchanges. What? Since the stream started. Dang, that's crazy. Look at that.
Well,
Guys.
thanks so much for joining, Daffy. This
Yeah.
was awesome. Really appreciate you dedicating your time. And everybody, this stream is going to be uploaded to YouTube right after this. Please watch it over again, check it out. Daffy, any other things you want to plug? Twitter, Discord, anything? Wrapping up here?
No, I would say, yeah, just take a look at the technical intro doc and, I mean, there's no substitute for reading the code. So just go ahead. I don't know if Max wants to say something, but.
No, I'm good. Yeah, I hope everyone comes over to Discord and chats more. The feature will probably go live in a few days, and always happy to onboard new people to the project and brainstorm on cool ideas. There's also a hackathon channel on our Discord where people have been posting ideas before. So it would be cool to see you all over there.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thanks so much again. Really appreciate you both joining, and talk to you all in the next one. Bye.
See ya.